Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Sara Newman, and I'm so happy you're joining me for this episode of Saturday with Sara. Today we're playing with a really sweet collection from our friends at Stamperia called Woodland. And this includes a pack of 8x8 pattern papers, 2 sets of rub-ons, and a package of coordinating chipboard die cuts. So let's take a closer look, and we can start with the papers. I'll move our embellishments off to the side just for now, and we'll flip through the paper pack. Now this includes 10 double-sided sheets, 8x8, all with a forest theme. So you can see here we've got ferns and leaves. You've got some birds. There are also beautiful flower motifs in here, as well as some woodland creatures. Now you've also got some all over designs here, plus some sheets that have nice border and corner treatments. Really sweet designs in here. This just makes the Oregonian in me very happy. I love these little field mice, berries, and leaves. Now you've also got, as with many Stamperia collections, sheets with cutouts. So this is a great example. You've got 4 on here, and they're quite heavily decorated. So you've got an image and you've got a sentiment on there. Perfect for just putting down on the front of your card as a focal. Now the other side contains imagery that has some open space here so that you can add your own personalization. Same thing here. So you've got a message and some artwork. On the other side, you've got some open space so that you can add in whatever you would like. Some more smaller cutouts on here, also blank or lightly decorated on the other side. And of course, you've also got some fussy cut elements on the inside back, as well as the inside front of the paper pack. So there's a lot going on in here. Beautiful artwork. I just really love this. Now to go along, you've also got 2 sets of rub-on. So you have a Woodland set 1 and set 2, and you can see here all of those beautiful images on here, totally designed to coordinate with each other as well as with the paper packs. These are really easy to apply. There are instructions here on the back, and of course I will show you how to do that. Now with our embellishment set, that chipboard pack, well, those contain 42 chipboard die cuts. So I've put them all onto 2 sheets so that we can take a closer look. You'll have mushrooms, leaves, flowers. You'll have, again, some woodland creatures in here. You've got some sweet little mice who I just think are adorable, birds, and also some sentiment. So some nice things for card focals and for the inside of your card too. And I really like how you have a variety of sizes on here as well. So again, something for the inside, something for the outside of your card. So everything is designed to coordinate perfectly, which makes it really easy to make cards and other paper crafts, all with a woodland theme. I really had a lot of fun with today's supplies, and I can't wait to share some ideas with you. So I'm really glad you're here today. Come play with us. Let's start with this card, which combines the papers, die cuts, and rub-ons together. Now I'm also using some solid cardstock from the Flower Queen cardstock collection from Hot Off the Press because the colors just go so well with today's collection. So I've covered my card front with the solid green cardstock and then cut down this piece of pattern paper slightly smaller than my card front. And I inked around the edges, no big surprise, with my go-to grayish ink pad. And this just gives a really nice soft bit of definition and shading around the outside edge there. Now I've also added in some rub-ons here at the top corner and then also down here at the bottom. And we'll talk about how to apply those rub-ons in just a second. I've also added a cutout from my paper pack as my focal. Now one thing, let me show you these cutouts. When you trim them out from the sheet, and you remember there are 4 of these large ones, you'll notice that each one of them has a frame that's like 4 pieces of wood or branches kind of put together. It's a really sweet way to create a focal element and a frame around this piece. but the wood is not even. So it's not like a straight plank of wood. It's like a branch, which has some kind of wavy edges, uneven edges there. And what I've done here, rather than using my paper trimmer to make those edges perfectly straight, I'm just going to come in with my scissors and kind of freehand around there so that I'm actually emphasizing the woodland kind of rustic effect rather than trying to force it to be a perfectly straight edge. So that's what I did around all four sides. And then I matted it onto solid green cardstock. When I did that, I matted it with foam tape. And then I also used my scissors to give a bit of an uneven edge around that matting piece there too. So no straight edges on this focal, which was really nice, especially for those of us who aren't great at fussy cutting. We always depend on our paper trimmers. So at this time I thought, why not emphasize that really sweet kind of rustic edge there? So then I've got, as an accent, my mushroom die cut piece here. This is popped up on foam tape too, and a little bit of jute twine. When I open the card, you can see I've got this gorgeous rub-on applied right onto the inside back of the card. And I love this design, and I really wanted it to stand out. Let me show it to you on this sheet. You can see this is just beautiful. And I wanted it to stand out rather than blending in like I have here with my ferns down here on my pattern paper, and then this other accent piece up here at the top. They look beautiful on pattern papers, kind of flowing into the background, but with this one, I just wanted it to stand out and have a little bit more emphasis. So I've put it right onto the white cardstock. So let's take a look at how to apply a rub-on. First of all, I'm going to bring in another one of the cutouts. So this is the one side, and here is the other side that's open to personalization. And I thought we could do the little bird here. So right in the center. What I'm going to do is just use my scissors to trim out just this piece from the inside, keeping both the printed sheet and the liner together. So they're going to come like this. So when I cut this out, I'm keeping those two together. And then what I'll do is separate this, figure out where I want my image to go, and then place this down. And we'll just put him right here and smooth down with my finger. So there's a bit of stick on here, which means that it won't go sliding off, unlike the rub-ons you maybe are used to from when you were a kid. And then I'm going to take a bone folder, and using this angled edge here rather than the tip, I'm just going to burnish this design in place. So I'm using some firm pressure here. You don't really need to put your whole arm into it, which is nice. This will transfer really nicely and easily. And I can start to see some of that image fading as it transfers. So let me just lift up on one end. And I'm going to move this slowly up. And I can see I didn't quite get the tip of that leaf. So I can put it back down and continue to burnish until I've got that all transferred. So there we go. And there's my little birdie. As simple as that, really easy to do. And so that's what I've done here. Again, not only for the inside, but also for some accent pieces here on my card. Super simple to do. Again, here on the inside, you can see I've also added one of the cutout sentiments from the paper pack. And I have another card I want to show you, and this one follows a similar layout. So here I've covered the card front with pattern paper, and you can see some rub-ons here, and then also I've got some overlapping. I've also got these two sweet little mice. They are rub-ons, and they've been added to my card focal. Here's the sheet, so you can see them together there, and here they are right on that open area of my cutout. And I've also got some chipboard birds, and then I have a little cutout sentiment as well as a gingham ribbon up in the corner. Then for my card inside, I have a portion of this large floral border that I think is just so beautiful. And I only wanted a little bit of it, so I've still got some left over to use somewhere else. Then I've got the chipboard sentiment and this sweet little mouse sitting in his flower as my accent for the inside. Okay, now I'm going to grab a few dies so that I can show you a fun and easy window card technique, again to put the spotlight on some of our pattern papers and chipboard. This card features an easy window technique made with a circle die and a slightly larger nesting scallop circle. So the dies I'm using today, some of my favorites, as you probably know, the 12 circle and scalloped cutting dies from Hot Off the Press. You have a variety of sizes here. You've got the plain circles and the scallop designs, which is what I've used here. You use them for a lot of cards, and of course they work great for matting, but they also work beautifully to create a window. And it's easy to do too. So let's take a look here. I'm going to bring in my card, which I've already covered with this wood paper. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that you'll want to use maybe a glue stick rather than double-sided tape so that you can put adhesive all over the front of your card and place your paper on top and then trim around the outside edge. You do want to make sure that your paper is secured down on your card front, especially around the perimeter of your window. And then what you're going to do is figure out where you want to put your window. So you may require a little bit of pre-planning, and especially if you've got an image like this one that you want to have coming through that window. So just sort of play where you want to have the window die and where you're going to add in your paper. And I was lucky there. The bottom of the design here happened to add up to the bottom of this portion on my card. And then when I've got my window just about an inch down from the bottom, they fit in perfectly. And then you're going to secure your die down. Use a little bit of low tack tape for that. Very important before you run it through your die cutting machine. Make sure to open your card so that you're not cutting through both layers of your card. And then once you run that through your die cutting machine, you can lift this off. You've got a spare piece here that you may be able to use for something else. And then you've got your window. And again, you can figure out which portion of your paper you want to put in there. Now, I've already trimmed off a little bit on the side here, and I can glue this down right up next to the inside fold of the card. And there are my mice. And then all I need to do is just trim around the outside edge of the top and the side. Now, I could leave it there and add some embellishments around the outside edge if I wanted to, but you'll notice with my original card that I have this scalloped frame. Now, this is, of course, using those circle scallops. So let's take a look at this. In this case, I'm going to use these two dies. So the same circle I used to cut my window, and then the nesting scallop that's just a little bit bigger. So I'm going to start with my scallop. And I'm die cutting a piece of the cardstock. And then what I'll do is take my circle and position it right in there, secure it down, run it through my die cutting machine, and then I will have a piece that looks like this. So I've got the frame. And then from there, what I can do is simply glue it around the outside edge. Really nice way to create a finishing effect on here. Totally optional. You can just have the circle on there if you want to, but I do like to have that extra little bit on there. Now I'm showing this to you with the circles, but of course there are also square and scallops, there's ovals, there's rectangles, so you can do this with other shapes as well. Just depends on what you want to show on the inside. And then from there you can add in your decoration. So here I've got some overlapping floral chipboard pieces. I've got another one here, so it creates a nice counterbalance. I have a hello script dazzle down here at the bottom. Also on that sheet of dazzles, you have some of these little flourish stickers. I think you can see the shine of that. And I've just tucked a couple of these here around my flower chipboard pieces. And then again, when I open this up, you can see those adorable mice and the hello message even better. So it's a fun and easy way to combine your pattern papers, some of your embellishments as well, and create a bit of an interactive design. Our next card has a lot of fun depth and dimension to it. Really perfect not only for this beautiful pattern paper and the rub-ons, but also using some of the chipboard accents. Now with this card, I've used the Sidestep card cutting die, and I know that a lot of you have this die, and this is a really popular one because it does give you such a unique card base, something just a little bit different. Here you can see you've got one metal piece, that's all you're going to need. Then on the back side, because it's hot off the press, of course they're going to give you your mountain and valley fold diagrams and also some instructions. And there's another look at that card project that's on the front. So let's take another look here at the front of the package because I do want to point something out. You'll notice here that unfolded, your card size will come to 10 inches long. Well, the pattern papers that we're working with, of course, are 8 by 8, which means that you can't cut the whole card base from one 8 by 8 piece, but you can do some layering, as you can see that I've done on here. So what I've done is actually cut 2 of these die pieces and put them together. So here's our base, and here I've got it all scored up. I use my bone folder for this, and then I've got my mountain and my valley folds like so. So this is the card base as simply cut out of a sheet of 12 by 12 plain cardstock. Then what I wanted was to have my pattern paper going over this. So I've die cut a second piece. Now of course this is only 8 inches long, so when I fold this up, it's not going to be an entire card base because it's not quite long enough, but it does allow me to nest the 2 of them together like so. So on the inside, I've got my cardstock showing, and then on the reverse side, you can see here I've got a bit of an overlap. Now what I could do here is add a border. I could add some more of the chipboard die cuts. I could do other things here on the back to do something more with that seam between the 2. But basically what I'll do is just nest these 2 together. Now a couple of tips with this. The first thing is that you'll really want to make sure your folds are nice and crisp. And this is where that bone folder is going to come in handy for both of these 2 pieces. The other thing I recommend is that you use a glue stick to cover the front of your cardstock base and then nest this on top. A glue stick is going to be a little bit more forgiving than double-sided adhesive, so you can place this down, and if you need to do any like kind of scooching around, that's easier to do with a glue stick rather than double-sided tape. So then once you've got those 2 together, you can decorate them as you wish. And so what I've done here, I've simply decorated it with the fern and butterfly rub-on. I've got the bird and the flowers chipboard going on here on the front, and then also on these kind of stair steps. Then I have the dream. This is a cutout from the paper pack, and that's just attached right on here. And then on the inside, I have another flower and a script dazzle message. Now the last project I want to share with you is this little tag booklet. Now you can make this using the tag in a bag die cutting set. So another one of my favorites here. In this case, you've got the bag and the tag, but I'm just using the tag for this. And this is a really handy die to have for just creating some nice, interesting tag bases that you can use with the bag or without. So in this case, what I've done is I die cut the tags from plain cardstock as well as pattern paper, and then use the cutouts and chipboard pieces to decorate. So here's the front. You can see I've got some snippets of paper here, then I've got this cutout and the chipboard flower. And then if you're flipping it like so, with this one I've die cut from the pattern paper and then added the mushroom cutout and the sentiment. This is up on foam tape. And here we go, seek out tranquility. And then when you pull this over, this is one of my favorite quotes here. I thought this was really nice. Got the mushroom and the sentiment both up on foam tape. And then I've got this other sweet little, another one of those mice, this mushroom. And then to finish up, another sentiment. So I made this project last, actually, after the first 4 cards you saw on the webisode, and I used all of my leftover scraps and rub-ons. Still have some left over from that too, so quite a lot you can do with today's collection. And I really could have kept on going and added even more tags. And I have a little bit of gingham ribbon here, just securing these all together. When you do this, I do recommend that you leave a bit of a gap in between the knot and the top of your tags so that those pages will turn easily. And that is our final project of the day today. So a big thank you to our friends at Stamperia for these really sweet papers and embellishments. I had so much fun. And a thank you to you for being with us today. We're really so glad you're here, and we're happy you're a part of the Paper Wishes family. Do feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear what you think. Each item can be purchased separately, and you can see them below. However, we've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. For the money saver, see this webisode on paperwishes.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, have a look in the description box below this video. You'll find a link that will take you to our Paper Wishes webisodes page, and you can see everything I just mentioned. If you enjoyed our video today, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It helps people to find our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We create 3 to 5 videos each week, so there's always something fun to inspire your creative spirit.